artery. I can't speak. It's a nice,
Here we go.
uplifting story to start our pregame show. We have a lot to talk about, much to the chagrin of this guy, our reporter, who said there's nothing to talk about. But Luddy, there's actually a lot to talk about.
Oh, there's a lot to talk about.
And we're going to talk about it. Some now, some during the postgame show. But we'll get you ready for tonight's game. Stars and Utahns. Shout out to Elliot for that one. Right now here on DLLS.
Get ready, boys.
It is Monday, 2 days before Christmas. This is the DLLS Dallas Stars pregame show as the Stars get ready to face the Utah Hockey Club for the second time ever and the second time in 3 weeks. Alongside Craig Ludwig, a very festive Luddy tonight, a very DLLS, all three of us. Luddy, flash that forearm, if you would, your elbow.
Oh,
You got a little love here. We've got Craig Ludwig. We've got Sam Nessler.
DLL.
Look at that. Well, I thought it was going to be a little
I can't get the
smoother than
pipes
that.
out. It's
Well,
kinda-
can you lift it up a little to your camera?
Lift what up?
Well, look at the
Look
camera.
at the camera.
Look that way. Lift it up because you got about 2 letters showing right now. Boy, this.
We're off
If
to a
anybody's
hot start
looking for
here.
a VOD for
There,
the,
right?
the
See that?
Christmas
Right
break,
there.
There it is.
There we go.
it
There we
is.
go.
Let's get it ready,
Custom
boys.
made.
DLLS.
You can't buy that anywhere.
Sabrina Leonard. I got her number.
By the way, one of my new DLS shirts came in. I'm going with the Skyline. Like it very much. I really like that one. You've got the sweatshirt, the
Yeah.
hoodie. You love that.
Love it.
You're not on screen right now, so it doesn't matter.
No.
But there it
Cool.
is. Okay, flash that real quick. The camo with the DLS.
That's a nice. Where'd you get that?
He
Did you
ordered
order
that
that?
one.
AllDLS.com/shop.
See how I led you right into that?
That was such a setup.
Did you
Buddy.
get it for free? Is that one of the deals where you get because you guys get it for free off of Slack or something?
No, this wasn't free. This we had to pay for.
Oh.
Your
I
little
got this
employee
for- I got
discount.
You know
though.
what? I didn't have to pay for this.
I bet you
Yeah,
didn't.
I got the Black Friday deal.
Thank
So
you, Sabrina.
along with our producer, John, I'm Owen. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have a lot to talk about, aside from just the DLS shirts that you can be sporting. Sam, I'm going to start with you tonight. For the first time, basically, as this season has started, we're now in game number 33 tonight. The Stars are currently outside of a playoff spot looking in. Thank you, Burned Oils. I appreciate that. 4 games in hand, though, the situation is far from dire, but this is not where this team expects to be.
No, it's not. And I think that's the important part, right? That we're not worried about this being season over or anything crazy like that. They're 1 win away from being 2 points back of Colorado in third with 3 games in hand. So it's not nearly as dire as it looks. However, it doesn't matter how many games in hand. You don't want to be sitting and looking in that position. The Stars want to be in that second or third spot right now, if not atop the division, and they're just not. And it's got a lot to do with how they're playing. We'll get deep into some of those numbers and things like that, but it's not a good feeling. And I said the same thing yesterday. I walked into practice on Sunday, and they have that really cool board at the practice facility with the standings. And I literally
It's like
stopped.
an electronic video
Yeah,
board.
I literally stopped, and I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that they were out of the playoff spot. So it's alarming to everyone, but some things to work on, and we'll get there.
The players don't sound particularly bothered by it. I'm sure that they don't like it. But here's Matt Duchene, Luds, and I'm curious to get your reaction to how Duchene pregame in Salt Lake City today talked about the tight standings in the Central and where the Stars are outside of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tight race in the Central. I mean, the Central's been one of the best divisions in hockey for a long time. It's good every year. So we're not looking at playoff spots right now. We're looking at getting to our game where we're going to be, where it should be. If our game's where it should be, we're in a playoff spot where we obviously won the conference last year doing it. So we want to. That's our standard. And where you end up at the end of the year sometimes isn't in your control. And but just you want to be in a playoff spot. You're gonna have to play good teams no matter what position you finish in, and if you have a chance to win a division, win a conference, that's obviously ideal. But for us, it's just it's game 33 tonight for us, and we got to treat it like game 33, and make sure that it's we're thorough from start to finish.
What do you think about treating game 33 like, I know it sounds so obvious, but is that a good mentality? Obviously, it's very early to be worried about standings, but it's a lot more relaxing from a stress level if your team spends most of the season comfortably in a playoff spot than down where they're now, which is in the muck of the wild card race.
It just feels like they were stuck in third gear for a little while. Then they got to second gear, and they're kind of stuck in second gear, maybe between second and third. You're never going to do an interview like this that everybody's going to hear and have any panic in your voice. You know what I mean? Like, especially when there is still some runway left. But inside the room, we got to get it together. They know that. I don't think you're going to hear them say that. We don't hear the coaches say that. And you guys were just talking about the board. The board that keeps the standings, that's right outside their locker room. And it's strategically placed because you have to look at it every single day. And for a few years now, they're not used to seeing themselves in that place. And I think there was a little bit of false, I don't know if you want to call it hope in the beginning, because they were winning games, but it was a lot to do with goaltending, and now we're kind of seeing that. Now what's happening is, what they're used to is drying up a little bit. They're used to the power play. I'm sure everybody's talking about the power play and things like that. So, but it can get late early if you don't start to get it together. You kind of look at game 40, and this is where we're at. This is who we are. And I don't disagree with, as far as getting in it, you want to just get into the playoffs. But I will say that you would really like to have home ice if any way you could have it, as long as you possibly can in the playoffs, because those game sevens, you'd rather have them in your building than someone else's.
There's no doubt. And it does have some benefit, although I thought there was a comment made about a week ago, if I'm not mistaken, where somebody on the Stars mentioned that they played basically 3 Western Conference finals. That's how tough their road was last year. You could argue that, right? Vegas in the first round, Colorado in the second, and then Edmonton in the third.
That was supposed to be easy.
It's a brutal, but that was even harder. If things switched and they played LA in the first round, I don't think that their tank is quite as low as it was when they reached Edmonton in the third round. But that being said, as Lud said, it's not supposed to be easy. Well, you mentioned the power play. That's the big storyline right now because of what they didn't do. Hi, Steve. The last 2 games. 0 for 4 against the Toronto Maple Leafs in a game which a power play goal shifts the tide and maybe helps them win that hockey game. 0 for 7 against the Rangers in a game for almost all the metrics except for the most important one, goals. The Stars were better. They had more chances. They had more puck possession. They had a great start to the game. Even when they were chasing the score, if they get a power play goal, Sam, it's completely different.
Yeah, it changes. And Pete talked about the momentum, right? He talked about it's one thing if you don't score, but you can't take away momentum. And it's even worse. You think about, all right, power play, at least give us momentum. The opposite is taking away momentum. And they were playing decently at 5-on-5 at the time of getting those power plays. And then it just takes away the momentum. Not only do they allow the shorthanded goal, but just sucks the life out of the building, sucks the life out of the team. And that's the absolute worst case. So if you're looking at the power play, score a goal is number 1, create some momentum, build on your current momentum, or at least don't take away. Right now, they're taking away and allowing goals. So that's all the way down on the chart for the team.
Luds, you did a thorough breakdown that you sent to us in our group text.
4 a.m.
4 a.m.
4 a.m., which I love where your head is at, because why shouldn't you be dissecting the Stars power play at 4 a.m.? You went through every single one. You gave notes on each single one, entries, get turnovers, good chances, not. 17 minutes of power play time, 0 for 7. Obviously, Matt Rempe got suspended for 8 games. We're going to do a really thorough breakdown of the Rempe suspension, the hit on Miro, in part of our post-game show. So please stick around for that tonight, where we can do it a little more justice than just a few minutes in the pregame. When you summarize that 4 a.m. assault on the power play, what'd you come up with?
I think there's a few things, but one of the biggest things I have is there's pretty good scouting in this league, and and teams know what to expect out of other teams, and especially when it comes to special teams. How do they kill? How do they, on the power play, what's their go-to play? How do they enter the zone? One of the things that has been strong all the time in the power play that I didn't even realize until I looked back at it, they're not winning a lot of face-off to start the power play. Puck goes all the way down, 10, 15 seconds come off the clock. And then it's their entries. And I've been on it for the entries. And I think when they're dialed in, I mean, there's nothing prettier to watch. But scouting, and all you have to do is you have to look at the two defensemen that are defending. They're about 4 feet inside the blue line. They're not back there because they're not even concerned about a puck going in deep. So all of a sudden, when they enter, because it's the same entry, I would just say change something a little bit. Because right now, teams know what you're doing. And when they come in on the entry and they make them little tic-tac-toe passes through the middle, and then when they get to the offensive blue line, the problem with that is they have 3 guys stopped at the blue line. So the 2 guys got speed, and if it doesn't get in, they can't help. So there's pucks that are going back down. Now, if they could find a way where they get momentum coming up the walls, and then if a puck has to go in, it goes in, they can get down and track it down. And then the other thing is I find that they're skating pucks to areas and then making a pass. And when you make a pass and then make a pass and then make a pass, from being on a penalty killing side of things, I have to start changing things. But when you skate, I just kind of slide with you. This guy slides with this guy slides with this guy. So either if it goes across to here and it comes back to the middle, there's guys already in those shooting lanes. They don't have to move. And then the other thing I would say is I think they have to be hungrier in front of the net. Pete made a comment, I think it was to Sam. And Sam, can you tell me how you asked the comment and what the answer was?
Was this yesterday?
About the pucks going in the net. Well, you were asking him about. Do you want me to just do it?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know.
You can't even
remember. You remember when you sent us this video yesterday?
Yeah.
I was sitting in my car on the side of the road.
You sent audio.
Yeah, audio.
Remember that?
Yeah.
It was
But
yesterday.
basically, what you asked him about the lack of scoring. How do are you worried about that? And it wasn't. No, I think he said no. I'm not worried about scoring. And I'm thinking when players are listening to that, well, you got the numbers. We looked at the numbers in the last 7 or 8 games against this. Since we're going to play this team now, numbers are down from goal scoring. Well. No, we're going to, our pucks are going to go in. They're going to go in. And if I'm a player and I'm hearing that and I'm a goal scorer, I'm like, yeah, they're going to start going in. I would be like, well, we got to start gravitating to the net, because when you hear somebody say the pucks are going to start going in, the other guys are expecting the puck going in too. So what they don't do is they don't gravitate to get to the front of the net. And there's a lot of rebounds that may be laying there that the other team is getting out of there before they're getting there, because the guys without the puck are expecting it to go in too. Well, it's not going in right now, so let's go get the ugly goals, whether it's 5-on-5 or power play. So a little bit more direct and quicker. Like don't make. You're supposed to make it harder on the defenders, not easier.
Are you ready for this?
Oh, we're so ready.
You mentioned change something. Well, our intrepid Stars writer from the Stars, Mike Heika, our good buddy, talked to Pete this morning pregame in Utah and asked about, would you change some things up? Well, Pete kind of disputed that. And here's the back and forth between Pete and Mike Heika.
I was going to ask about the power play. You've been very consistent with the alignment and deployment. Have you thought about shaking things up at all?
I don't agree with that. I think we've changed units. We've moved some things around. We've worked on different attack points. So I don't think that's an accurate statement to say we've kept everything the same. I think we're working at it on a daily basis. The reality is every team in the league has 10, 12 power play option guys. They're all the same on every team. You're not going to use your fourth liners on the power play.
I was just saying because of the confidence you guys have in it, because it seems like you are turning up analytics that say you should be scoring goals.
Yeah, we should be. 5-on-5 too. So I think perspective is important. We've got to win games. We've also hit 2 first star goalie performances by the other team. That's 2 games in a row.
In the league
so you hit a goalie that's going to be a first star in this league. It's going to be hard to win, and we hit 2 of them in a row. So that's going to happen to everybody at some point.
All right, there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack there. So let's start with the changes. He's disputing the claim that they haven't changed very much. What's your first reaction to that, Craig?
Well, I don't know. I guess he's right. He's the coach. So in the attack points, we're changing the attack points. I see the same attack point in my sleep.
I see the same lineup.
Am I wrong?
The
only time they changed anything.
Put a couple guys in there.
Yeah, you know when they do that? when it's at the end of the game and it's panic time, and at the end of the game on the 5-minute major, Lundqvist was out there, and those guys are out there.
Remember, on the major, Miro was in getting stitched up, or whatever treatment. I don't know if he was actually stitched; he was bleeding, so he was not out there for that.
Well, you know what?
Had to use somebody else.
Maybe when he says we've changed things, because we've seen Maverick out there, Bork's been out there, but other thing, a little bit.
Usually
when the other guys are dead tired.
Yeah, we were listening. We've
seen Blackwell out there. You know what? When Blackwell's out there, and let's see who else is out there. Steele's out there. Well, you know what that is? That's kind of a message to the other guys that you're not getting it done. So you throw those guys a bone and you hope that they score. But that's in necessity of my other guys are tired.
Yeah, but funny enough, he said we're not going to put our fourth line guys out there.
But they did put their fourth line.
In terms of the changes, I've pretty much only seen fourth line guys.
Shouldn't they do it to send a message?
I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
And you know what you do, Owen? When you put your fourth line out there, you tell them play like it's 5-on-5. The way that you guys play 5-on-5, and they're more direct, right? We've seen that line. They get chances, they get rebound chances, they get second chances because they play direct. They get below the top of the circle, and it's going to the front of the net.
Yeah.
And they outwork the defenseman in front of the net when they're 5-on-5. So think if you do that when you're 5-on-4. But what you find, and we did a couple of things. The other thing that I saw, John and I did a video. I'm going at it here, but I'm just saying
now, folks.
But I'm just saying we did a little video on this that's going to be out. The other thing they do is they're losing puck battles on the wall on the power play. You're on the power play. You can't lose. It can't be a 2-on-2 or 3-on-3. Get another guy in there, because when it goes down, of those, I should have kept track. Of those 17 minutes you said they had, I don't know how much of that is in zone time. There may be only 7 or 8 minutes.
There was a lot of chasing pucks.
Yeah.
Oh, let me go back to that real quick, because you were talking about on faceoffs losing that. When that was a problem, it seemed very consistently last year to start power plays. Just remember, you're losing the opening faceoff of a power play when you get to dictate which circle and who you put there. Because after a penalty, you get to put your power play unit you want out. You can have right or left circle, so you're giving your center or whoever's taking that draw the preferred side. The penalty kill puts their guys out there, but they don't get to choose right side, strong side, or weak side. And you're still losing that a lot. And they're a good face-off team overall. Why are they losing that so much when they have
I go back to it's 4 outworking 5.
Yeah.
It's not 5 outworking 4.
Win
and teams are afraid of their power play for good reason. When they're clicking, they're clicking. So the best thing you can do, take 15 seconds off the clock by winning the draw. So they're digging in. Jamie Benn doesn't typically lose face-offs. I've seen Jamie lose a couple face-offs now. We don't see that. So you got to you have to, the urgency has to be raised on special teams, and more so the power play than anything else. But I just think that teams know, first off, they want to, I guarantee they're talking about, we do not want to take penalties against this team because they got a good power play. Regardless of how they're going now, they're dangerous on their power play. So they're prepared, and as a killer, you have to be on point because they're dangerous. And so when you have a chance to clear the puck, it has to be out. When you have a chance to win a faceoff, you have to win a faceoff. When it's in front of the net and there happens to be a rebound, you better win that puck. And so there's one group of guys, I think, because of the ability that the Stars have, that are digging in more, and they're just getting outworked in areas. And I think that they're shooting pucks from the perimeter. Like Pete said, they're going to start going in. Well, they're not going in. And I just feel the guys that aren't shooting the puck, we got to think like it's not going to go in. There's going to be a rebound. Go there and get it.
Make life harder on opposing goalies.
I knew that was going to get you going for sure. And Sam, too. Here's Matt Duchene.
I'm dizzy right now.
Matt Duchene was asked this morning about the scoring and power play issues. And here's his perspective on things.
Yeah, we're just trying to get feeling good as a group. We're obviously, I think we're doing a lot of good things. It's that old saying, all Swedish, no Finnish right now. So, that's kind of what we got going. And hopefully we get a little bit more of that in our game here. And, we got the talent to do it. It's not a matter of if, it's when. So we just want it to happen sooner than later.
You guys break down the numbers, the analytics. I think you had 21 shots on goal on the power play.
We also had we had 17 minutes, so I hope we get 20 shots.
Yeah, it's true.
We did enough good things to score there. But at the end of the day, it's, unfortunately, it's a result-based business, and no one, gives a hell if you're doing a lot of good things. It's not going in. You don't get you don't win hockey games doing that. So I think, but having said that, I think process is a big thing, and if our process is good over the course of 82 games, our results are gonna follow. So it's a tough league. It's we got good goalies and good PKs, good defenses, and it's the hardest thing to do in this league is score. So and do it consistently. So we'll just keep chipping away.
Okay. John and I, like I said, just did this video, and I'm sorry to pick on Matt Duchene because I really like Matt, and I think he's a hell of a player. But the very last clip that we put on that B-roll that we did it's Duchene. The puck is a shot from probably Miro on the right side of the ice at the point. Matt is coming off the left side of the ice on the goal line to the right side of the goaltender. He's coming off the goal line. Well, when the puck comes to the net, Matt Duchene is coming to the front of the net. There's a defenseman standing in front of the net, kind of where the post would be, maybe a little outside. Matt literally goes in behind the defenseman and stands behind him on the shot. That's not getting to the front of the net. Because for that defenseman, I guarantee if that was me, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, just
this
that's
guy
where
covered.
I want you is right here.
Just stay over there.
But show me that you want to get in there and you want to get, I know what he's waiting for. He's waiting for a puck to bounce off the right way so it can come to my tape. That's not happening right now. And it may happen tonight against Utah. Hopefully it does, and that gives them more confidence. But right now, dudes, you guys got to start digging in.
All right, Sam, you've got numbers for us, and we're going to talk about Utah as well. It's not been great, and we highlighted this the other night. You were at the AAC. We were doing our pregame show. From the beginning of the season through the 1st of December, Tyler Seguin was mostly in the lineup. Stars had a great record, 15-8, scored 3.4 goals a game. Their goals against was great. Power play wasn't very good. Penalty kill was decent. Since Seguin went down, which was, by the way, December 2nd at Utah 3 weeks ago, they're 4-5 in 9 games. Their goals for has dropped to 2.4, a full goal a game less. So what other numbers do you have besides that?
It's pretty similar to that. A lot. It's just more of looking at what two teams go in complete opposite directions right now, right? Utah's on an 8-game point streak. Dallas is 3-5 in those 8 games. Utah scored a power play goal in 7 straight games. Can you imagine if Dallas had scored a power play goal in 7 straight games right now?
I mean, even if they
just
in
2
league average, they'd have probably 3 or 4 more wins.
Yeah. So Utah scored a power play goal in 7 straight games, 36% over that time. Dallas 2 for 24 over its last 7, 8.3%. Utah's the 4th best team overall in those 7 games, scoring over 3.57 goals per game. Dallas is 29th, as you were just mentioning, with only 18 goals over that time. Utah penalty kill, top 10. That's one thing Dallas has done. Dallas is, I think, is over the last 6. I think they're 100%. I think they're six games in a row without giving a power play
Stars
goal.
penalty kill is 14 for 14 in their last 6. But this is great. Last 10 games, 92.3%.
Yeah, that's
been getting it done on the PK.
That's keeping him in the games right now. Because if you look, the one thing
that's goaltending too.
Yes,
that's
for
Jake
sure.
Oettinger.
That's 4 outworking 5.
Yeah, and the one thing that worries me. So a lot of these numbers are offensive, right? But it's kind of an interesting one. You see the red hot Utah power play against the red hot Dallas penalty kill, which is a fun matchup. The other side of it's kind of a iffy penalty kill that's hot right now, and an iffy power play that's not hot right now. So it's an interesting matchup. But the one that worries me most, Dallas, over the last 7 games, 2.71 goals per game. That's 20th they've allowed. Yeah. When your offense is drying up a little bit, that's okay. When your defense is also drying up a little bit, as me and Led said before the show, if you're not scoring and you're not defending, you're probably not winning.
And it gets worse because in the last 9 games, so it's 20 days, they are tied for 26th in goals for per game in the league.
It's tough.
They 22
tough stretch.
Luds, 9 games they've scored 22 goals. Their last 9. That's it. Not even 2.5. You're not going to win a lot of hockey games if you don't score.
I'm done. I'm not getting going anymore.
Okay. Here's one more thing for Matt Duchene. Here's Duchene.
Oh, Jesus. Duchene Day.
It is, because he's a great talker. He's talking about Utah.
Well, if you're going to talk the talk, walk the walk.
Here he is.
No, yeah, they're good. They're really good offensively. I think they're one of the best offensive teams we've played all year. It was a fun game in here last time. You know, they're not. It's not going to be a slow, lock it down type game. It'll be there'll be some action going on, and you know, personally, I always love those games. So you defend hard, and then you know you're going to get some looks offensively, just because they're trying to score every shift. So you know, I think that's what we'll expect. And we didn't play our best in here last time on a back-to-back, and got the win. So you know, tonight we'd like to have the same result, but a little bit better game.
That's the one thing the Stars have a benefit of, because they won a close, low-scoring game in Utah, 2-1 in their first effort on December 2nd. It was the second night of a back-to-back. They played in Dallas and then flew to Utah and played. Tonight, they've been there. They left yesterday after practice, after a couple days off being non-game days. And Utah had to play a game last night, albeit at home. It was in the afternoon. They had a little bit extra time to recover, but they coughed up a 4-1 second period lead and lost in a shootout 5-4 to the Anaheim Ducks, something the Stars know about as they've lost to the Ducks on home ice. So, Luds, Utah, as you heard Duchesne say, they're not going to try to trap you and slow the game down. They like to go.
Oh.
And the Stars transition game, that does play into that style.
Yeah, and where Utah was giving Anaheim problems last night in Anaheim zone is they do a lot of interchanging, and you'll see it out high on the point, and they'll have 3 guys, but they don't just kind of where they're just rotating, move it from side to side. They're interchanging places. And Anaheim, when they were playing a little bit of man-on-man,
Heard that.
they were having problems because Utah, especially if the players that have a 9 on their jersey tonight, those are the ones that kind of control the game for them. So if you see a 9, Sergachev, blah, 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 Cooley, and Keller. So those are the only 3 guys that have 9s, by the way. I know you're looking already.
I was just to make
there
sure,
aren't
but
any.
you're right. Those
No,
are the
there's
3
only,
guys with
there's
9s.
only 3 guys. I've done my homework. So anyway, those guys.
So
and this
Modano's not playing tonight?
Keller is a player. And if you don't want to play physical, which Dallas is not a physical team.
Yep.
You know, they haven't been. But they're just going to be able to get out there and play their game. Now, yes, they did play last night. They were at home, right? They played that game at home. So they lost at home. So maybe they'll be a little pissed off tonight. I don't know. But they should beat, Dallas should beat this team. And this is a 4-point game. I mean, this is, I know we're only in the 30s in games, but you got to start getting your act together and you got to take this seriously. You got to play these guys like you're playing Colorado. You know, and I know it's the Utah team and all
they
this other
beat Colorado in this 8-game point streak.
Yeah.
They beat Minnesota. They had some good wins.
Yeah. So, but I mean, they're a fast team. They're a tricky team. They got a couple of shooters. Dylan Gunther can shoot the puck. And so they've got some weapons there. And you're going to have to, I would suggest, try to be a little bit more physical on their top players.
Okay, let's do some beat writer action here. This guy, through the lineups. Sam, take us through first with the Stars. News from practice of the last couple of days and who's playing tonight.
Yeah. Only news from practice. The big one is Matt Dumba was skating yesterday for the first time. First time, I think, since I forget the date. I tweeted it out when he was with the Calgary game. So that was the last game, which was
week ago.
Yeah. So
week ago Sunday.
He was wearing the full bubble, but he was a full participant in practice. Pete said he's not ready. So he's not off the IR yet. He is not available for tonight. But good news for the Stars. It's still a mystery kind of injury. We don't really know, but the fact that he's wearing a bubble gives us a little bit of an insight of something up here.
It's some sort
bubble,
of
a bubble wouldn't say concussion. A bubble to me doesn't say concussion,
injury, right?
And I don't. If he's not cut, I would guess jaw. I would guess, unless he broke his nose.
Did you say you saw some sort of like black eye or shiner? Or
it looked like he might have had a black eye when we saw him. He was quick to not walk past us in the rink after the games. I don't know if it was just because he didn't want to see us or 2 games ago, something like that. And it looked like he did have a little bit of a black eye, and it does yesterday at practice. Looks like there's a tiny bit of a cut underneath, so maybe it's something.
And I looked at
that. It could be an orbital bone.
I went back and looked at that Calgary game, and I watched all of his shifts, and I was looking to see if there was anything that would suggest he missed a little time with treatment. Nothing.
Wasn't there one hit somebody kind of came by and he did that?
At one
For all
point,
you folks at home,
at one point in Calgary, I saw him
one.
on the bench. It wasn't on the screen, so I went back and looked to see if you could see it, but you couldn't see it in the game. He had a towel over his head and was holding his face.
And I couldn't see that on the
it.
TV broadcast, so maybe they just didn't catch it or something.
That was all.
There was one play where he absorbed a hit and then he hit a guy, and it didn't.
I'm kind of thinking right now, the way some of the fans feel, I'm wondering if they're thinking, you guys are spending way too much time talking about
let's
right
show
now.
the
most of the
John.
responses to my tweet
kinda
about
like
him being
that
there,
too?
we're not.
Obviously, Casey DeSmith gets the start. And this, Sam, is a big deal because Jake has played 8 straight games.
8 straight games for Jake. And funny enough, this is actually exactly, 3 weeks?
3 weeks
to the day of when he started. And it was in the same place against Utah when he was great and helping them get that 2-1 win. So
don't you think that has a lot to do with it?
he was great. Pete actually mentioned it this morning that he was great in that game. I think it's interesting for him because now the smart move here and that I like is since they didn't do it against the Rangers or whatever else we thought last week, start Casey tonight. It gives Jake 7 full days between games. So he then plays on that 27th game if he plays
One
against
last
the Wild.
quick thought, and then I want Luds to go a quick 30 seconds on the lineup for the Utahns. Are they getting over this virus finally? Are they starting to turn the corner?
Yeah, it seems like it. People high energy at practice yesterday. A lot of fast paced stuff and full participants. That's a couple of skates/practices we've seen the full group. So I believe so.
All right, here's the forwards. You said watch out for the 9s.
Well, Clayton Keller is, he's a magician out there. He's a little water bug. And Cooley, top player.
Such a good player.
Gunther can shoot the puck. He's got 16 goals, 16 assists. He's a plus 13. And then, Kerfoot's a good player. He's a hard-nosed guy. Krause is a good, tough guy. Bukestad out of Minnesota. I like the way that guy plays. Good third-line guy. But I think you have to be careful with, and again, Gunther, it's funny. Gunther is a right wing, right shot, and he scored 90% of his goals from the middle of the ice to the left-hand side, which tells you he's getting one-timers in there someplace because he's got a bomb.
Let's go to the defense. John, you love Sergachev. Not necessarily because he's a Victor Hedman type. He's a little
Look at all
different.
the little dots above these A's.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, Luds, Michael Kesselring was a very noticeable player the last time these two teams met. He got up in the play, got some scoring chances. Sergachev has been playing really well. And Vejmelka in goal is on a personal 6-game point streak. He's won 4 in a row. He's 5-0-1 in his last 6 starts.
We got to hope he has to be good tonight.
Yep.
From a Dallas fan,
We'll hope their
you
tired
want him
team
to have to be good because that
to the
means
net.
that the Stars are playing the right way against a tired team. Yeah, I agree. Like Sergachev, to me, has taken his game to another. When you said Kesselring gets up in the play, they all do. It's that kind of a tempo. It's that kind of a game that they want to get up and they want to go and they want to come with numbers. Not very similar to Dallas.
Should be a fun one tonight. We are going to do the full breakdown of it afterwards. We'll also break down the Matt Rempe hit on Heiskanen and the subsequent NHL League suspension. We'll break all of that down, super chats and more in our post-game show. Go watch on Victory Plus. We'll see you right after the game. Thanks for joining us here on DLS.
I believe that they are going to crush these guys tonight.
We all silly like the mayor.